On today's video, I will be showing you how to turn a pile of Makita scrap back into a Makita impact driver with the help of Parkside 4-volt tools and some parts from Aliexpress, the total cost of which is no more than €5. I was given the remains of a Makita DTD171 impact driver because the trigger and control board were faulty, so the cost of replacing them was as much as a brand new impact driver. And I did recently get this new Parkside 4-volt rotary tool, so my thoughts were, is it possible to clean this up and maybe even manage to fit in a new trigger and control board from Aliexpress into this Makita impact driver and see if it's possible to make it work. The cost of a brand new control board and trigger from Makita for this is about €150. What I'm trying to do is fix this on a budget. A budget of €5, a €2 trigger and a €3 control board. The impact driver, as I already said, was free because it was headed to the nearest bin anyway. At this point, we're almost done with step number 1, which was cleaning the impact driver shell and buttons, of course. No issues with the 4-volt rotary tool so far, it's doing great. Now let's put a steel wire brush on the rotary tool and try and clean up the hammer housing. This is actually my first rotary tool and I ended up buying it because one of you suggested in the comments section that I should review it. However, instead of a regular review with meaningless tests, I thought it's best to throw some work at it and see how it handles it. And I've had no problems with it with everything I've done in the video so far. For a 4-volt tool, it is actually powerful enough to get some work done, and light enough to make it easy as well. Now let's see what sort of a fit we get between the €2 trigger from AliExpress and the genuine Makita shell, because Makita use a special type of trigger which costs anywhere from 30 to even €50 for this type of impact driver. And as you just saw, the trigger is not a very good fit at all, and we need to modify it a little bit. So we turn again to the rotary tool, with which we will take away some of the trigger material to make it fit into the shell. This is actually my first time using a rotary tool, so let me know down in the comments how I did. Time to see what we've achieved. Let's see if it fits. It does fit and it moves freely. Why am I acting surprised? Just some finishing touches there. I want to keep this thing as close to the original as possible. A RestoMOD, if you will. So I want to keep the original lighting system, which means removing the single LED that is on the trigger that we're using and installing the original dual LEDs in its place. And because I'm not a savage, I will be transferring the connectors as well. Time to pull out another 4-volt tool, the Parkside 4-volt soldering iron, which again is a surprisingly good 4-volt tool. And now onto the big one. Time to see how we can make this €3 brushless control board fit the very specifically designed Makita body. The first step I've already done is to remove the control board from the plastic casing it comes with. And now we see what we need to remove in order to make this fit. I paid €20 for the rotary tool and accessories. What do you think? Is it worth it? Let me know. And meanwhile, let's test out the modification. Yes, the control board fits like a glove. I like the original idea of a fuse on the tool, so we'll keep that. The next step is to connect the brushless motor to the control board, and that's done with these 3 wires, which need to go into specific places, so keep track of that. There you go, and now connect these 3 wires to the original Makita brushless motor. And because this is a very well built tool, you have 3 screws to keep them in place. Now let's solder on the mode selection button, then connect the Aliexpress special trigger and see what we've managed to achieve. Now it's just a case of putting everything back together, making sure we keep the cables out of the way so as not to put a screw through them and start all of this madness all over again. Final couple of pieces, which are the dual LEDs. Then comes the hammer casing, and into the hammer casing goes the brushless motor. Now we can finish things off by installing the old control panel. However, I'm not really a fan of that because it doesn't really show what we've managed to achieve with this tool RestoMOD. So what I want to do is something a bit different. I want to take some plexiglass and shape it with the Rotary tool into the form of the original control panel. Onto the final 2 pieces of the Makita puzzle, which are to install this plexiglass bit that we've just made and to install the genuine Makita battery terminal. Let's put this thing back together and find out if I've been given all the screws that were taken out. Looks like I am missing a screw, but doesn't matter, we'll put this one on. Moment of truth. Let's stick a battery on the thing and find out if it makes a sound. So now through the plexiglass you can see the mode settings and you can use the button on the top there to select the modes. And we even kept the original dual LEDs. Finally, let's see if it actually works. 2 modes, let's test them out. Let's try a larger screw. And now it's up to you. Let me know what you think of this project, the end result, and the 4-volt Parkside tools that I used in this video. Once again, if you like the content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.